If you want to learn how to do DIY welding projects, the first thing you're going to need, even before your welding machine, is safety equipment. Luckily, there's a good chance you already have a few of these items, such as safety glasses and leather gloves. I'll be going over some of the budget options as well as some upgrades that you may want to consider in the future. So let's get started with the first item on this list. It is inevitable to have sparks and shards of hot and flying metal into your face while welding and fabricating, so protecting your eyes is extremely important. There's so many options out there, but the main takeaway is you're gonna want to get glasses that are NZZ87 rated. Regular prescription glasses just won't cut it. They sell safety glasses and goggles that are meant to fit over your prescriptions, and you can even purchase prescription safety glasses, so there is no excuse. You can literally get glasses for a couple bucks at Harbor Freight, or if looking cool is an issue, you can spend high dollar on some Oakleys or Pit Vipers. Leather gloves is probably something you already have, so hopefully you can go ahead and check that off your list. You'll want to buy leather gloves because its fire resistant properties as well as its protection against radiant heat from welding in hot surfaces. But with that said, regular leather work gloves will do the job, but it's not the most effective option. I recommend buying actual welding gloves, which are usually much thicker to provide more protection from heat and are typically longer to provide more wrist and forearm protection. That also reduces the chances of hot slag entering your gloves. Quick tip, welding gloves are also great because if you do have hot slag fall into your gloves, you can quickly and easily remove the gloves without using your other hand. When it comes to clothing, it's pretty simple. You'll want to wear leather work boots for the same reason as leather gloves. Denim pants and cotton long sleeve shirts will be your best friend, and congrats, you probably already have them. Denim and cotton are relatively fire resistant, but don't get that confused with the FR rated clothing, which I'll get to in a second. You will still burn holes through denim, and cotton is just less likely to catch on fire than other materials. You of course want to wear pants and long sleeve shirts to protect your skin from the heat and burns, as well as protect your skin from the harmful UV rays that welding inherently emits. Just a few minutes of welding can produce a pretty gnarly sunburn, and of course long-term wise, there's cancer. I mentioned FR earlier, that stands for fire resistant. Companies will design clothing less likely to catch on fire by using fabrics that in case where it does ignite, it will stop burning so long as the heat source is removed. This may be something you may want to consider, but FR clothing comes at a steep price. FR shirts can cost around $60 to $100 and pants go well over $100. A simple solution to this is buying a welding jacket you can get around for 50 bucks. A welding jacket provides much better protection than even FR shirts, and for DIYers lasts many years, providing a great investment. But if you're on a tight budget, you can pick up a welding sleeves for about 10 to 30 bucks, and since we're just DIYers, they'll provide arms with ample protection for a great price. For many, this will be the most expensive item on this list. You'll come to find that shopping, collecting, and personalizing your hood will become an addiction. But I still recommend starting with a cheap auto darkening hood around 50 to 100 bucks in a shade 10. Auto darkening just means when you're not welding, you can see through the lens, and when you arc and start welding, it does go darker to protect your eyes. I recommend something in your price range from Harbor Freight as a starter hood. I'm a huge fan of Harbor Freight because of their affordable prices, as well as the fact that it's a good beginner's one-stop shop for welding supply and equipment. If you've got more of a budget and you're willing to do some research, I like the Honeywell Pipeliner, aka the Sugar Scoop. I say more research because although they usually come with fixed lens, you'd have to go out and shop for an auto lens that you'd like. These hoods are for around 100 bucks without the auto lens, but the great thing about them is that they use the 2 by 4.5 inch lens, which is very common and will give you the most options. If that doesn't sound bad to you, this hood's versatility and longevity will be the one that can last you for decades. Again, get something cheap, and as you grow and learn more about hoods, you can look into getting fixed lens versus auto, what shade you prefer. You can look into adjustable shades and sensitivity, pipeliners, pancakes, flip adapters, and the list goes on. Not all of us have big open shops where fire hazards are a little less of a concern. Most of us are building in garages that are littered with potential fire hazards. The best thing we can do is take the time to identify these hazards to mitigate the chances of fire and have a plan in case we overlook something. Here are some things to look out for. Stay away from flammable chemicals, paints, aerosol cans, dry wood, and other flammable materials, oily rags, flammable gas tanks such as oxygen, acetylene, and propane. This may provide quite the challenge, but I wouldn't just leave you without a solution. Welding blankets or flyer blankets is usually made of fiberglass and is flame resistant just like the FR clothes. This is a great option to cover flammable material, but be sure to consider this as a last line of defense. Distance yourself or the flammable object as far away as possible first and then apply the blanket. Last, have a plan in case something does go wrong. You also want to have a serviceable fire extinguisher allow easy access to a water source, have an evacuation plan, notify those in your household that you'll be welding. One last thing, sort of off topic, smoke inhalation is bad. There are expensive respirators and fume extractors, but something like this will do. Just make sure that you're welding in a well-ventilated area. Doing things like keeping the garage door open and keeping a fan running will get you a long ways, and your lungs will thank you. All right, you just taken the first step into learning how to weld. Click here or here if you want to check out the dumbbell rack and the plate storage rack I recently built. I hope I was able to be of some service to you. If so, give this video a like and please consider subscribing. Be safe out there. I'll see you on the next one.